All right, I'd like to now move on to our last speech. Our last speech is David Makela, and David Makela's evaluator is Jeannie Scott. Jeannie, could you please give David's objectives for the speech?
Yes, I will be glad to. Thank you. And I have to apologize. My power is out, so I'm having weird technical problems in my car. I'm trying to make this work. But Dave is doing a 3 to 5 minute speech on that is supposed to be presented to, what is perceived to be a hostile audience or assumed to be a hostile audience regarding a controversial issue. And it'll be a 3 to 5 minute speech. It's out of the Advanced Communicator Manual topic of public relations, speaking under fire. And in particular, aside from the main objectives, I'm going to be looking for his ability to draw empathy or present his message with empathy to try to help people at least be able to hear his message, even though they would object to the message in general.
Thank you. Thank you, Jeannie. The time has come for restrictions to be lifted and for Californians to be given their freedom back. Or is it? The pandemic protesters are making their voices heard and the natives are getting restless. David will be acting as the public relations director for the citizens of Laguna Beach and make a case for why our beaches, parks, and businesses should reopen in 24 hours. Derek, I believe you know the timing, 3 to 5, and it is 2 to 3 for Q&A. David Makela, please take it away.
Yes, okay. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. As the PR director for Citizens of Laguna Beach Coalition, I want to start by saying we are living in some terrifying, turbulent times. And I understand that many of you are in different places and even on different sides of the issue. And some of you have lost jobs. Some of you have a family or friend that may have contracted the virus or even lost a loved one. I'm sorry for you. And some of you are having to move back home from college. There are some high school and seniors in college that are unable to graduate. These are tough times. And I wanted to appeal to you today. The reason why I believe the citizens of Laguna Beach should be allowed to go back to work, to be able to exercise, to go to the beaches, to get out in the water, to fill yourself up with the life-giving energy of Laguna Beach. And there's been studies on both sides. There's the studies that we hear that are telling us that the numbers, the cases, and the deaths continue to escalate. And that's true. A lot of lives are being lost. But then there's also a history, if we look at pandemics of the past. In 1918, there was the Spanish flu. The Spanish flu infected over 500 million people. And yet, 50 million people died. And yet, we survived. Human beings are adaptable. Human beings are resilient. And the people of Laguna Beach, I know you, and I've spent time with you. You care about one another. Therefore, in order for us to open up businesses again, to open up the beaches again, to be able to breathe the fresh air that helps to build the immune system, to be able to spend time with your friends, surfing, stand-up paddleboarding, going for coffee, we can take the responsibility to be able to know that when you're sick and you have the symptoms of a headache, cough, a fever, that you stay home, you stay indoors, You get the tests, you self-quarantine. You are responsible enough as citizens of Laguna Beach where you care enough about others that you won't infect others, you won't put others at risk. And as a result, I believe that the citizens of Laguna Beach will come together to look out for one another while allowing those of us that are healthy to go out and continue to be strong and healthy, to be able to provide for our families, to be able to encourage others, and at the same time, be respectful of those that are suffering. So I appeal to you to do the research, to take care of yourself, to be healthy by doing the things that make you healthy. And one of those things is getting outdoors and exercising. And yes, following some of the recommendations and the restrictions. But at the same time, let us go back to, in 24 hours, to a place where we can start gathering together, but be socially responsible. So that way we can start becoming healthy and spreading health to one another. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster. What I'd like to do now is open up for a 2 to 3 minute Q&A. If any of you oppose this view, please bring your questions to me, and I'd like to be able to answer any of your questions.
Yes, I'd like to go, David.
Yes, JP.
Derek, remember to keep timing. David, aren't we going against the CDC protocol by going out and interacting with people? Aren't we trying to save lives here?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question, JP. Yes, the CDC guidelines they're sending some mixed messages out there. And there are guidelines that are telling us to stay home because it is working. At the same time, responsible human beings that are healthy, that are following the guidelines of common sense to make sure that you're not putting other people at risk. So it's taking the responsibility to know that if you are ill, if you have the symptoms, stay home. If you're healthy, then go out and continue to be healthy and spread health so you can bend the curve and bring more health into our community.
David, I have a question.
Yes.
Okay, we love Laguna Beach. It's the island all itself, you know that. But because Laguna Beach is a public place, how would you suggest that be handled? Would you suggest that only the citizens of Laguna Beach are able to go out and enjoy beautiful Laguna? Or will they open it up to everybody and everybody does not have the same common sense or respect for humanity as we do? What do you suggest?
Great question, Raquel. We thought, my team of experts thought about this long and hard. And the Citizens of Laguna Beach Coalition, we are guardians and protectors of our community here in Laguna Beach. And we want to make sure that we can stand up to people that are not following the restrictions. So yes, allow people to come in. And yes, we can't test everybody, but at the same time, we can restrict how many people can come in. And there are different phases, as our president has recommended. We can have a phase of re-entering back into the normal life that we once lived. But it takes, again, this guiding coalition of the citizens of Laguna Beach to not stand divided, but come together.
I have a rebuttal question real quick, I'm sorry. Okay, in 1918 with the Spanish flu, it wasn't the actual onset of the Spanish flu that killed the majority of the people. It was the after onset, once everybody went back out and started living because they thought everything was gravy, everything was okay, we're safe. In November, everyone after the war, they charged out. And that's when it was more people died than in the war. So, shouldn't we learn from history that we maybe need to take it just a little slow?
We absolutely should learn from history, Raquel. And I do believe that, again, going back to taking responsibility for our own lives to make sure that we are paying attention to how healthy or unhealthy we are. And if there are any symptoms, to be able to make a decision not to put others at risk. Therefore, it is upon each one of us to not be selfish, but to be unselfish. Yes, the beaches are nice, but I'm not going to go out there if I'm sick. I'm going to make sure that I'm surrounding myself with healthy people and asking hard questions about that as well. But thank you all for great questions. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, David. If you have any comments for David's speech, please put it in the chat box. I'd like to now call on the timer. Derek, can you just tell me if everyone qualified?
The